My name is Vera Kamtukule. I'm from Malawi. I'm an executive coach. I'm a leadership coach. I'm a life coach. I'm also an author, an international speaker, but also the host of the Leadership Lab Africa. I think AI is here to stay. I think there was a time that all of us were scared about artificial intelligence, about technology. But now we know that we cannot do anything without artificial intelligence. We cannot do anything without technology. But I think the question is not whether or not AI is here to stay or what it is doing. It's about how ready we are as governments, so member states in Africa, also maybe globally, to absorb the usage of AI. And I think for me, it's an issue of skills development. How are we ready to now reskill and retool our people as far as AI and absorption of technology is concerned? So to that, for me, I would look at issues of how are we training our young people, for example? So if you talk about technical colleges, or universities or institutions of higher learning, how are we training our technology? So, for example, I know that in most African member states, or maybe even as a continent, we have visions, we have strategies that we are running. But to what extent are those empowered or mainstreaming issues of technology, including artificial intelligence? And then to what extent are we ensuring that we are running our economies based on artificial intelligence and AI and technology? And then you see that to a greater extent, most of those countries or companies that are implementing AI will be doing so by technologies that have been imported from elsewhere. They are not homegrown. And that also is also creating its own issues, because I think the truth of the matter is that AI is not something that is replacing, because a lot of people have been arguing to say AI is going to replace human beings in terms of jobs and all of that. But really, when you look very closely, what AI is doing is removing inefficiencies that would be created by human error, because as human beings, we make mistakes. Not because we want to make mistakes, but because we are human beings. Sometimes we get tired and all of that. And those are the gaps that now AI is coming in to remove, so that we can enhance our efficiencies and effectiveness as human beings as we navigate our life in several spaces, in medicine, agriculture, technology, logistics, administration, and all of these spectrums of the economy. Now, I think for me, therefore, it is that if AI can go in every aspect of our lives, if whatever it is that you do, you're ordering a ticket, you're ordering your food, AI, there's a component of AI there, then we should know that AI is already here. What we have to do, therefore, is demystify these issues around AI, especially these what makes people scared. So we need to democratize access to information regarding AI, especially what it is not. What it does, I think we cannot overemphasize that. We are already seeing it, but we need to talk more. I was telling someone to say, why do companies spend a lot of money on issues of marketing and advertising? Because I think it's a human thing. We need to put information in people's faces every time, reminding them we should do the same thing with AI as well, reminding them. So it should start from primary school, maybe even kindergarten, telling young kids about technology, about artificial intelligence. So as they grow up, as they become now teenagers, they are already aware of what this thing is all about. Because for myself, I never knew about these things. So we knew about a computer. When I went to college, it would take me an hour just to send an email, a single email. It would take me an hour. Now it takes literally maybe a fraction of a second for you to send an email. So, technology is advancing. And I don't know what I could have done even for my PhD studies without the use of technology. So that is the reality now. So now even in medicine, now it's advanced to an extent that you don't even have to be cut open for people to do operations. Now they can do an operation laparoscopically using AI systems as well. In agriculture, the same thing. In medicine, in logistics, several other things. But so what we have to do now is to start diluting that kind of information for people, especially people who are living in rural communities, maybe people that maybe have never been to school, that may have a problem understanding these things, because there's a cultural element that is also attached to AI as well. There's a social component that is attached to AI, and they are well placed. They are well meaning. It's not like they are far fetched. People are genuinely scared, and it is the duty of people that are advancing issues of AI to ensure that they are providing this information, and they are providing it consistently. Which brings me to another point, therefore. People that are investment companies don't have access to people. They don't build this kind of community that I'm talking about. That's where government, civil society, academia would come in to partner with the tech companies regarding the distribution or sensitization of communities around AI. So it's not the companies themselves, because they can just create messages that would not sit well with people, maybe in the villages or with chiefs. So instead of fixing a problem, would be now, causing some trouble for government or for local leaders. So we need to work together as community leaders, government, academia, and then private companies to ensure that we are doing this thing. The other thing is that as we are doing that, disseminating information, we need very much to look at issues of policy, issues of infrastructure, the creation of an ecosystem around the absorption and use and integration of AI, especially in Africa. Because the kind of Africa that we are building is going to really be built on technology. We need to reach a place where Africa does not export its raw materials. Africa is exporting ideas. Africa is exporting technologies. People from all over the world will be coming to Africa to learn how it is done, because it would have started here on home soil. So I was fascinated by these South African AI awards, and when I heard about them first time, I was like, oh, okay, they're awarding South Africans that are into the tech space. But then when I dug deeper, I realized that no, their focus is the global, but now they're starting with Africa. So it started from South Africa, now it's going into the continent, and then they'll take it out to the global space. I was fascinated about that. Now, the thing with awards. An award happens in a day. Someone goes on stage, they're wearing a nice suit, a tuxedo, and a dress, and then they go and collect an award. That says nothing about, what is happening. Even for that person that is going up there to get that award, they didn't just get there themselves. There are a lot of people that may have worked together with them to have contributed to have to ensure that those people have that award. So I think for me, it's about recognizing the potential that is in people, in Africans, as far as artificial intelligence is concerned. So what that really is doing is about the multiplier effects that are happening now as a result of someone or some people or an institution or an innovation receiving a South African AI award. This is how it does. So if you have a recipient of an award from a township, they have friends, they have family, they have people, they have a community. They are coming from a community that maybe even never believed them. They were thinking, he or she behaves strange. He believes into something. He's always locked up in a room creating something. They're always on their computer. But now, somewhere, other people are able to recognize that and even now give them an award. Oh my God. What it does in that township, it not only elevates the institution that is giving the award, but also the possibility that it is possible for us, even us, to do it. Like I said, the future that I envision is that of Africa is exactly that, where everyone would be given the chance and the opportunity to unearth their God-given potentials in terms of technology and advancing AI on African soil. However, what exactly must be done now to ensure that those young people or those people that are innovators are giving the impetus to create, to be productive at that scale? Because if we are going to say Africa is innovating, Africa is embracing AI, it's not going to be because government has produced a policy. It is going to be because we would have the solutions to the problems that we are navigating now. So, for example, we have problem of hunger, for example. We have an HIV and AIDS problem. We have a problem of high school dropouts among girls, for example. That's a social problem. And then we have a problem of low productivity. Or, for example, even in mining, where we are saying, how is an oxymoron for a continent that is so well endowed in natural resources, how yet hosts some of the poorest people in the world? Where do we draw the line? Where does AI come in to solve those kind of problems? To now start looking at AI as a solution to say, We need to change the whole political economy of mining in Africa by using AI. How do we do it? That is where AI comes in. It brings in solutions. It talks to tech companies, investment companies, governments, and to say, you maybe don't need all of these resources. You only need so much. But for you to get there, you need to have this. It is this that I'm addressing. The infrastructure that is required, an entire ecosystem that is required, that is supposed to be built. And that is a matter of leadership as far as I am concerned. Because AI is an acquired competitive advantage. It was not there in the past. Now it is here. So it is an acquired competitive advantage that countries need to start looking at. Look at Singapore now. Look at Dubai, look at all those countries in the Middle East. That's what they're doing. Now they're even competing with themselves, So they have used technology, including AI, to advance themselves. Now everyone is looking at them. There's this country now in Africa, Rwanda. It has positioned itself now as a hub for MICE, meetings, incentives, conferences, and events at the moment now. They have used a lot of AI as well. And now even the infrastructure that Rwanda has built around artificial intelligence is amazing. African states can borrow a leaf or two from them. So for me, it is about how now all sectors of the economy are working together to ensure that this is very possible. So for me, if you are there and you're thinking, I have this dream, but I don't know who believes in it or if I'll go far, here's my message to you. Keep doing it. Keep doing it and use the internet intelligently. I'm saying intelligently or with wisdom to get the attention of other people, because you are not going to get an award. You see, potential just sat on is a waste of resources. It's a waste of time. You'd have wasted your 3 years developing that app, developing that system, if no one would see it. So develop it. Are you going to fail? Absolutely. You can't just succeed at the first attempt. You may fail. But I want to challenge you. There would be people out there that would have better ideas than you do, but they will not have the context that you have. If you meet those people and you work together, you produce something. We should be proud of being African. We should be proud of saying we know that we have problems, but we also know that we have a potential within ourselves to create solutions that would work for would not just work for Africa, but that the world can also work with. Because malaria can attack anybody else. Whether you're in Europe, whether you're in Malawi, whether you're in Egypt, whether you are anywhere across the world, it can attack anyone. We need to ensure that we have technologies that are able to say, oh, okay, to detect this is malaria, and this is how you can treat it. How else can we do that? We need to do that because we know that malaria attacks African countries first. So solutions to deal with malaria must start from Africa, and then we can export it somewhere else. That's what I'm talking about. We know that we have arable land. We know that we have fresh water. We need to provide solutions of increasing our productivity as far as agriculture is concerned, so that if the world is buying food from anyone else, they should be buying from Africa. That we can do. And we cannot do that using indigenous technology. We should be embracing now AI. And now, I like the fact that I've also just mentioned indigenous technology. There must be a way of how we can increase the efficiency of indigenous knowledge and marry it with artificial intelligence to advance. Because if COVID-19 taught us something, it unearthed those things that our forefathers used to do. That's how we navigated COVID-19, because it exposed us, our inefficiencies in our health sector. But at the same time, most African member states, they used indigenous knowledge to treat the COVID-19 pandemic. And that means, therefore, there is room to combine these two, technology and indigenous knowledge, to come up with homegrown solutions on the African continent. I think that's how we advance.